Hey everyone, and welcome to Traveling Boards. My name is Anthony, and this is a very brief overview of Horrified. We continue to celebrate spooky season here at Traveling Boards, and today is no exception. This is not only one of my favorite Halloween time style games, but honestly just one of my favorite games of all time. It is always very high up on my list. Horrified is a cooperative game, so all of the players are working together, basically against the game, meaning everyone is either going to lose together or win together. In Horrified, you're going to be moving around the board, that's usually a village of some kind, with different spots, collecting items, and then using those items to basically thwart these different monstrous threats that are sort of terrorizing this little encampment or town or village or whatever the scene is. There are currently 5 different versions of this game. I'm going to focus mostly on the first one, which is the Universal Monsters. You see them right there. Okay, the first one that came out. That's got your fan favorites like Dracula, the Wolfman, Mummy. It also includes a creature from the Black Lagoon, Frankenstein's monster and his bride, as well as the Invisible Man. You can play against basically any combination of those monsters, depending on how hard you want to make the game. So as I said, there's multiple versions of this game, but honestly, the mechanics are pretty universal throughout the games. You are always going to be taking the role of a hero, having a certain amount of actions to move around the board, collect these items, hopefully help some villagers along the way, and obviously, at the end of the day, trying to stop the threat of the monsters. Each hero character also has their own special ability, which can certainly help out in some hairy situations. As I said, one of the main things you're going to do in this game is collect these items. They come in 3 different colors and various strengths. These items are useful for 2 reasons. One, if you are ever attacked by one of the monsters during the game, you can use those items as your defense to avoid getting hits. Secondly, these items are going to be used to advance or thwart the monsters throughout the game through various means. Which leads me to one of the things I really love about this series. Every single monster has a completely different win condition and aspects of how you're advancing towards, like defeating them. Even though in some situations, it's really not, you're not like killing them. For example, what I love about this game is if you play with Frankenstein's monster and the bride, honestly, you're trying to sort of humanize them and get them to kind of fall in love and be happily ever after. If you're doing the Wolfman, you're trying to cure him from his, his wolfiness or whatever. So even throughout all these different versions of the game, I've yet to see a repeat in terms of how you defeat these monsters. Adds a lot of variability to the game, makes it not feel samey, because not only can you play against different monsters each time, you can also play against a different amount of monsters. I think for the first game, they usually recommend 2, and then you can do any combination of 2. I like to try to take on 3 every once in a while for a little extra challenge. If you want to be crazy, you can, I guess, go ahead and try to take on 4, but you're probably going to lose. Horrified follows a pretty standard cooperative game format in terms of when it's your turn, you do all the things that you can do as your character, and then the monsters are going to do stuff. Something bad is going to happen. The way that the game sort of balances that out for you, though, is when it's the monster's turn, you're going to draw a card. Now, that card is going to do a few things. Usually, it's going to first add some items to the board, which is obviously good for the heroes. And then some of them are going to specifically mention a certain kind of monster. So if Dracula is in this game, do this. If that monster's not in the game, there's always more icons on the bottom of the card that are going to tell you who's going to be moving and attacking that turn. Sometimes it can be the same monster twice, which can certainly be a problem. If a monster ever attacks your hero and you can't defend, or you just choose not to, you're going to be sort of knocked down. You'll start your turn over at a certain spot on the board, but more importantly than that, this tracker is going to move down the board. And as you can see, when it gets to the very end, that means the game is over and you have lost. This can also go down if one of the villagers gets attacked by the monsters. They don't have any defense, so you want to try to hang out with them if you can and help them. If you get them to a specific location, they're all different, you then get another, what's called these perk cards, which are just extra stuff to help you out throughout the game. They might let you, move a monster away or move a hero closer to you or switch items or things like that. So why do we highlight this game around this time of year? Well, frankly, as I said, it's a favorite of mine all year round. It is really a great family experience. Because it's cooperative, again, you're all working together, and so everyone's on the same team. You do have the practice then of sort of talking out turns and planning and saying, who's going to go up here and sort of collect those things that we need to get for Dracula, or, someone needs to help me down here with, the Wolfman or something like that. A lot of collaboration. You're not going to win every time, which I love personally in a cooperative game, but there are certainly some very close calls. I've had some very memorable experiences with this one. As I mentioned, there's many versions of this game. You can see them all on my shelf. I have them all. I'm a big fan. The other versions include American Monsters, which has creatures the likes of the Jersey Devil, the Ozark Howler, Bigfoot, things like that. Then there's a Greek Monsters version, so classic, Greek mythology type of creatures, if you're familiar with those, like Medusa, say, Cerberus, that kind of thing. They also have a World of Monsters, which has some, I guess, more sort of myth things, but from other countries, and that includes a Cthulhu character to fight against as well. And then most recently, right there, they just came out with a Dungeons & Dragons version. And that's a quick look at Horrified. Horrified will be absolutely coming to our events in October. Specifically, if you're watching this before our next pop-up, October 25th, really, really hope you'd like to come and check out. We'll have all 5 of them out on display. Always looking to get a game of this in, because it is one of my favorites. That's it for this one, folks. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.